Up, you guys? Happy Tuesday to you. Good morning. It is September 28th, and I'm finally getting this month's market report out to you guys. Sorry for the delay. Been a couple days behind on it, but we got a lot of stuff to get into this morning. Probably the biggest news coming out has been the drop in pending home sales. So let's jump right into that. Got a few things I want to cover with you guys. Here we see our pending home sales, okay? And we're coming along, clipping along at a nice pace. We dipped down, obviously, during the summer of last year during the lockdown, but bounced right back in the ensuing months. And if you see this little yellow arrow right here, that is the dip that we are seeing, okay? That's the drop in pending home sales that is all across the headlines. Now, but if you look at this, this is what we consider a historically healthy level of home sales. This goes back to, I believe, 2019, the last normal year that we really had. We can really see this, in context, especially related to what is a healthy norm. Let's take a look at our monthly showing index from Showing Time. This is one of the best data sets for measuring buyer traffic. We kind of have a dipping down over the last several months, as you can see. Okay. Now, most of this reading of 189.4 that you see here in July, it's very close to what we had last summer, which was hovering around 199 to 200. Again, context is important. In July of 2019, this reading was 123, that level you see marked right there. We're well ahead of where we were that year. Very strong sellers market still. Ojo Labs, they released this. The U.S. housing market continues to be ultra competitive, even as new COVID cases surge. But new data shows the level of competition and ensuing price increases may be cooling. They may be cooling off just slightly. Data shows that 49.6% of homes sold for more than the initial list price in July, far ahead of the number reported in July of 2020, when 26.8% of homes were sold above initial asking price. But below June's total, when 50.4% of homes sold for more than initially listed. So they say all that to say that here we are at 49.6% of homes being sold over list price. That's crazy. That's just slightly off the insane 50.4% that June's had of home sales being more than what they were listed for. So I want to take a look at new monthly listing counts. Okay. Here we see this is the amount of new listings coming to market. This graph, you can see the color coded here for the years 2017, 2018, and so on. The line shows the list going all the way back. And if you look, but all three of those years, 2017, 2018, and 2019, they all kind of follow the same curve. Okay. Sometime around May, the numbers start to peak. With new listings coming to market, and then they sort of tend to dip down around October or so. That's what that's what a normal year looks like for listings. Now, this orange line is what last year did, okay? Started off at a normal pace, and then, of course, we had that massive drop when people started pulling their listings from the market, stopped showings as the lockdown hit. More and more people simply decided not to sell their homes. And as you see, even when things came back from the lockdown, they never quite hit the numbers that the previous years had. People just decided not to sell. And there are a lot of reasons for that. Uncertainty, health reasons, social distancing concerns, and of course, the high real estate prices that are around. So if they sell their house, they've got to go buy another one. Now let's look at this year. This is where things get interesting. Okay. The rising numbers of new listings through April and May, and now are flattening off in June and July, like we typically see. But we seem to be following that same sort of bell curve pattern. However, we're still shy of where we were in previous years. So what does that mean? Well, if these listings start to fall off as we see them do by their historical patterns, it's going to put more upward pressure on those home prices. We're going to continue to watch this as it develops. I'll include this some more in the market updates. But if these listings fall off like we do, like we tend to see, we're going to start seeing, we could start seeing a home appreciation and home prices start to pick back up again. That kind of leads to our next topic of affordability. There really is a growing concern today in real estate about home affordability. How are we going to be able to continue to afford these houses given all the other rising costs of living that we're seeing? This is the monthly mortgage payment, okay? And this graph shows how it's been increasing significantly over the last few months. Goes back to April of 2020, pretty steady, kind of through here. And then in April and March and May of this year, we start to see it start to rise. And that is, of course, indicative of the same thing we're seeing: rising home appreciation, rising home prices. It's driving our mortgage payments up. Now, looking at this contextually, we can see that rising mortgage payments leads to a decrease in affordability. This graph, which shows that the higher the bar, the more affordable homes are. And in January, homes were much more affordable than they are today. So saying that homes aren't as affordable as they were a few months ago, there's really no debating that. That's real. All right. And it should be a major concern for those of you who are still sitting on the sidelines, waiting to make your first move in the real estate market or waiting to buy your first home. This is where a real major concern hits, and that's in renting. This is the median asking rent going back all the way to 1988. And as you see, it continues to climb year after year. And it's really, truly skyrocketed here in the last few years. And what needs to be understood is that, yes, home prices are continuing to climb, but so does rent. And rent climbs a lot faster. There's a cost to saying, I can't afford to buy right now. I'm not ready to jump into true home ownership. Furthermore, we're seeing that the percentage of income needed for a mortgage payment is also increasing. Again, this is a reflection on rising home prices. And we see it in this red section right here of the graph. It's really jumping up. However, it's not quite at the historic norms that we've seen. So here we are now at 17.1% of income needed for a mortgage payment. Our historic norm is 21.2%. So we're still slightly less than what we have seen in this country, but it's getting there fast. Okay. Now, this is the number, the 25% number that you see right here. That's what NAR recommends. Okay. NAR says that if you keep your mortgage payment down to 25% of your monthly income, you'll be able to afford the additional costs of the home: property insurance, taxes, utilities. So again, context. Here's the percentage of monthly income for mortgage payments that we're at today. That's 17.1%. And of course, the 21.2% is our historic norm. So if we take a look at this, homes are less affordable, but they are not unaffordable, okay? Finding a home today is a crucial step in building your long-term wealth, and it's not impossible. But the sooner you do it, obviously, the better. Now, the last topic that I want to hit on is something that I actually blogged about earlier this month. And it's taking into account the abnormal conditions, not just the unaffordability, but also all the other things that are making it so hard to be and confusing, really, to be in today's real estate market. This is 5 reasons why today's housing market is anything but normal. Now, the dictionary defines normal as conforming to a type, a standard, or regular pattern characterized by what is considered usual, typical, or routine. Now, one of the first and one of the biggest factors in how today's market is anything but normal is our mortgage rates. This has been one of the things that's really been fueling the high demand that we've seen over the last year. No doubt the meaning of home has changed, right? And like we saw earlier, we didn't get all of the listing inventory that we needed to match this year's demand. But then, oh, by the way, guess what? Mortgage rates fell. And if you look at the rates here by the decade, they are extremely low. Taking the broader view of what rates have looked like over time, we see where we are today relative to our nation's history. 28.7%. That's an extremely low rate when you look at what our country has typically been at in mortgage rates. The next thing we want to look at is home price appreciation. Are we finally heading into normal market conditions with normal home price appreciation? Again, looking at this by the year, this is according to a Black Knight study. We see here today 14.1% home price appreciation. And that number is actually even higher according to a lot of other reports that I've seen. 17% was reported by Case-Shiller and a couple other hires. But, this orange line that you see is what is an average annual appreciation historically. So we are way above what is normal. Very robust home price appreciation, but again, completely abnormal. Third, the month's supply of inventory. This is one of the biggest issues in housing. NAR, the National Association of Realtors, said this: month supply refers to the number of months it would take for the current inventory of homes on the market to sell given the current sales pace. Historically, 6 months of supply is associated with moderate price appreciation, and the lower level of month supply tends to push up prices more rapidly. So again, we've covered this in other market updates. Month supply is how long it takes the given supply to get sold on the market given the rate of home sales, okay? This is where we're at today, 2.6 months of homes supply. That's our months of inventory. Extremely low. All right. Very, very abnormal. Number 4, the amount of days it takes to sell a home. Now, as of July, it took 17 days to sell a house on the market. Okay. Now, what we've seen traditionally, look at some of these: 41 days, 49 days, 46 days. That's not really unrealistic. A month and a half to list and then close selling your house. You figure 2 weeks maybe on the market and probably a 30-day close. That's extremely traditionally normal. 17 days to sell a house is like lightning quick. That's just something we don't typically see, not normal. Lastly, and this is the last thing that, like I said, of those factors that make our market very, very strange, is the number of offers per listing. This is something that's affecting a lot of you buyers out there. Those of y'all that I'm working with, how many times are we going to be competing with 7, 8, 10 other offers on a house? But it's also something that, for a lot of you guys who are listing your house, how many offers are you actually going to see? Well, we're at 4.5 right now. We are seeing an average of 4.5 offers for every listing on the market. That's a little bit off of the peak of 5 that we saw back in the spring when things were like white hot, but certainly not normal relative to the last few years. So, as we wrap up today, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a look ahead here. Home prices are still forecast to be going up well into 2022, and this is predicted by all the major think tanks. They've all upped their forecast to what we're seeing now of an average of 5.5% average home price increase in 2022. George Ratu, he's a senior economist with Realtor.com, said, "I expect an unusually busy fall season. Sellers are putting homes on the market. Normally, this activity happens early in the spring." So, again, going to be an interesting fall. I got a lot of stuff to keep you guys up to speed on. Again, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video with me. And as always, feel free to forward me all your questions. And I'd love to talk to each and every one of you about how we can help you in this real estate market. So you guys have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye.